The Inheritor by Frank Roberts, a Roar and Jar Jar production.
Good evening, I'm Chet You Betcha.
And I'm Alcoholic. Welcome to Channel Zero News.
This just in. A man that is yet to be identified has just been recently pulled off a small island that was left in the wake of the recent flood in Australia. He was found on a high peak on Lone Pine.
He was found dazed and confused, refusing to leave the island unless he could bring a trust sheep with him.
Officials say that he is suffering from a mental illness that is related from prolonged exclusion from humanity, in which a person creates a special bond to something that was stranded with them. For our viewers at home that don't really understand, it's kind of like in Castaway when Tom Hanks' new best friend was a volleyball named Wilson.
That was a good movie. As well as finding a trust sheep on the island, officials also found a dingo which was strangely strangled to death.
According to our professional sketch artist, Moses Toe, the dingo looks somewhat like this.
Other professionals say that it looks like this. Leaving people wondering just what that John Doe did on the island. What made that man strangle a poor defenseless animal? And what part did the sheep have to play in it?
Well, all these questions and more are about to be answered. We sent our very own investigative journalist, Ali G, to Lone Pine to have an exclusive interview with John Doe, who is still waiting for a helicopter that will agree to take him and the sheep. As well as that, we will also have an eyewitness account of what the John Doe appeared like after first finding him on the island, as Ali G will go to interview the first helicopter pilot who refused to take him and the sheep.
Stay tuned, you're in for one interesting hour.
Welcome, we're back. Now we'll be hearing with the interview with our first eyewitness helicopter pilot, live with Ali G.
Yo, check it, Ali G here with none other than my main man, John Smith, the first eyewitness that spotted our John Doe on Lone Pine. So John, when you first noticed the John Doe, what was your reaction?
Well, I never seen anything like it. John Doe was on top of a tree, holding a trusted sheep. Even though he had open wounds along his body, he still refused to board the helicopter without the sheep. He seems mentally unstable, probably because of the isolation from civilization.
Did he mention anything about why he was so attached to the sheep?
No, he just held on to it as if it had a golden fleece.
Reports say that a strangled dingo was found on the island. What do you think happened to it, and do you think it's related to the John Doe?
Well, when I first noticed him, he had open wounds on his body. So there must have been some kind of conflict between him and the dog. However, it confuses me how he would have engaged in this conflict with the dingo.
What do you think the sheep's relationship with the dingo was?
Well, my guess is that the sheep was stranded on a lone pine with the man. And when they saw the dingo, he probably tried to defend it. However, I could be wrong. Anything could have happened on this island with all these crazy stuff I've seen.
Well, you've seen it here, folks. The first eyewitness of the John Doe here with some pretty strange details. Back to you, Chet.
Thanks, Ali. That's some mind-twisting stuff. We'll be taking a break now, but stay tuned. Up ahead, we're going to be having an exclusive interview with the John Doe himself.
We're back, and now we go live to John Doe, still grasping the sheep. Ellie?
Sunglasses, it's getting pretty bright. Yo, check it, I'm here with my other main man, John Doe. So John Doe, what was your real name?
My name is Johnson. Peter Johnson.
Okay, now how did you wind up on Lone Pine all by yourself?
There was a flood, but I wasn't alone. I had a sheep, and a dingo, and some crows in my company.
Can you tell us about the struggles you encountered on Lone Pine?
Well, it all started when I first broke free of that grasp of the deadly flood. I had to seek refuge on the high land, but the only high land was on top of a hill on the Lone Pine. I walked around the island, dazed, confused, and when suddenly I heard a low growling sound. to my dismay, I saw a dingo. It was earth-colored and it started to stare at me with blazing eyes and sharp teeth. Then I turned around, horrified, and to witness a horrifying sight. An iwi, quite possibly the stupidest iwi I ever seen, was about to be slaughtered by the vicious dog.
What did this have to do with you?
Well, I felt sorry for the ewe, but at the same time I was worrying about the safety of myself. I had to consider all the possibilities of saving the ewe or letting nature take its course and saving myself. First, I had to consider letting the ewe die, because the sheep were meant to be hunted by man or dog. Still in me, I began to feel pity for the sheep. And that's when I realized that it's my nature to come down from the tree and be master of the ground. Then I realized why I should care about the damn sheep and that damn dingo. My priority was saving myself and getting on top of that tree, but I couldn't let that sheep die. I just couldn't.
What made you change your mind? If I were you, I would have just let nature take its toll.
What? I couldn't let the dingo inherit the earth and let the last of my kind diminish. If I were to let the ewe die, I would be losing the last of my kind on the face of the earth. You tell me, would you let the last one of your kind die?
Well,
no choice. I had to kill the dingo. Damn that dingo for being so cunning. He waited on top of the lone pine, watching the ewe run in fear for him only to have to run back on the hill, facing the fear of the rising water. The ewe was facing inevitable death, unless I stepped in. After waiting until the water level was high enough, the cowardly dog lunged at the ewe. But at the same time, I jumped too, and we collided in mid-air. When we hit the ground, I raced downhill, and he tore at my leg. I kicked it with my other foot, but it avoided my blow. It came back to me with another slash, so I was forced to kick it again. The ewe, who was panicking, ran at us, knocking both of us on the ground. I fell at the top of the dingo, decided to take my chances, so I tried to strangle it with my bare hands. I watched as the dingo squealed and whimpered in my hands, but I knew this was the only option. A minute later, it was dead, limp and cold. Then I waited for someone to save me.
but that doesn't explain why the eel was tied up. Can you explain that?
When I saw the helicopter, I knew that it was my responsibility to make sure that ewe gets to safety. The only way that it could happen is if I take it with me, but if I was tied up so that it wouldn't try to get away from me. Does that answer your question?
It sure does. Sounds crazy.
What? You think I'm crazy? That's it. This interview is over. It's time for me to take care of my ewe.
Alright, this is Ali G on Lone Pine, checking out.
Thank you, Ali G, with that amazing interview. Boy, does that guy sound crazy?
Maybe or maybe not.
This is Channel Zero News saying good night to you. Yeah, I know. Okay, yo, we gotta finish filming the last scene. Damn you! Cut his thing.
Google, cut his thing, cut his thing.
Yo, check it. Ali G here with my main. Oh. So, John, when you first noticed John Doe, what was your first reaction?
Well, I've never seen anything like it. John Doe was on top of a tree holding a thrust.
Cut.
No.
Yo, listen.
Okay. You start filming, you idiot!
Yo,
Turn off! Yeah. Turn off, dumbass.
Yo.